I said, have mercy. Here we go. So I'm looking around, right? I don't know what's about to happen, but I'm trying to prepare myself. So I'm looking around. I was like, man, let me find a sheet of paper to put my number on just in case she comes in. And so, because I wasn't going out, because I wasn't going to force this thing. So I found an envelope. Now, this is a house, right? These people have businesses, they have property, right? I couldn't find a pencil, couldn't find just a slip of paper somewhere. The only thing I found was a pencil that needed to be sharpened, sort of. The point was barely visible, and an envelope that was sealed. I was like, man, I can't open up the envelope and tear up a sheet of paper. So I did the best thing I could, and that was take the pencil, use my fingernail to chip off some of the wood for the lead, and I took the edge of the envelope, like the folding part, the back part, I teared it off a bit at where it wasn't sealed all the way, right? So I tore it off and had like a half-inch, maybe half-inch sheet or piece of paper, and I wrote my name, I wrote my phone number on a sheet of paper, and I looked at it and I was like, you know, if it was meant to be, it was meant to be, and if she really is interested, she would accept it. So I'm waiting. I'm sitting there in the seat, in my chair waiting, on the couch, I should say, waiting. And they start walking toward the house. And so they walk in, and I see her, and I'm delighted. I'm like, wow. So she sits next to me, and I give her my phone number. And she gives me this card, and it was like a little business card, little almost homemade, like, you know, something that you would you'd print out on a printer, but you would have to take off the individual, you know, pieces of cards. You have to, you know, rip off the sections. Anyway, so it was like that, and it had her name on it, and on the back it had her name and one who loves dance, one who loves theater, one who loves, you know, these different colors and things. And it was it was interesting. I give her this little half-inch sheet of paper, and she gives me this business card, like homemade card with her number on it and her information. And so we struck up a conversation, and one thing leads to another. And she's with the baby in the jogger, in a jogger too. So it's time to take her home. Or no, it's time to go. She had walked to visit the woman's house that, you know, we met at, because, you know, I come to find out that that woman is the mother of her ex-boyfriend, her high school boyfriend, and they had a good relationship. So she would go by every now and then, and so that was one of the days she had walked by. I didn't realize that, you know, how close she lived to us. It wasn't, you know, too close, but it was close enough for her to get, you know, a nice walk in, because she was exercising at the time. And so anyway, you know, we all, like, you know, we're all ready to go. You know, I'm ready to go back to my apartment. You know, she's ready to go home. And my aunt is like, well, she offered her husband to take, you know, this young lady home. And my uncle looked, and he was like, Brody got a car. And it was the funniest thing, it was the funniest thing, because, you know, my uncle was no frills. You know, he's very, you know, very straight to the point, secure in himself. He's no frills, right? So it was so funny at the time, and we all cracked up laughing. And so I take the jogger, put it in the back. I had and it was my favorite. It was my first car that I bought. It's my favorite car. Excuse me. I bought it while I was in the Marine Corps. I had it for the last like 2 years of my Marine Corps career, and I drove it. I drove it from California, Southern California, Oceanside, to Chicago. Man, it was my favorite vehicle that I've owned thus far, and it was a Nissan 240 SX. So I pulled up the back hatch and put the jogger in there, and she gets in. Put the baby in. She gets in, and she begins to show me, which way to go to take her home, and we have a great conversation still. I've come to find out that she has to go to New York the next day, and I offered to take her. And long story short, this young lady and I began to date, and she was completely plant-based at the time, and she has her own journey of why she became plant-based. And so I wasn't keenly aware about what taking care of your body meant, what health was, or anything like that. I had just been living my life just the traditional way, eating what I thought I enjoyed. And, coupled with the fact that I went through that experience with my stomach pain, and the experience with the ground beef. On our first date, it was at my apartment, and I told her I would cook for her, and so one of my things was I would make spaghetti, but I would make my own sauce because I didn't care for the sauces that were on the market. So I prepared to make because I knew she was plant-based, so I prepared to make a plant-based spaghetti with some garlic bread, and we had a wonderful conversation and wonderful meal. And she leaves that night. After we had the conversation was I asked about the health thing and her experience, and we talked about a whole lot of different things. But that was one thing that once she left, I wanted to find out more on my own. So what I did is I went to Google. I wanted to keep it simple. And I didn't want to, I knew that there was a myriad of information out there, especially at that time in '01 on the internet. And I wanted to keep the search simple. And what I did is I typed in meat. I went a lot of pages. I went far into the search, as far as like the number at the bottom, the number of pages that you can go toward to find information. And I just kept perusing the articles, and if I saw something that was pertinent, I would click on it, look into it, read, skim through it, and I just did that for about 20 to 30 pages, maybe more, because I wanted a thorough understanding of what this thing was. And from all the articles that I read, I didn't see anything significant concerning me needing to eat meat, like red meat. So I said, I was done with red meat anyway. I'm not even touching that anymore. That's clear. I'm not doing that. And so I said, I enjoy chicken at the time. So I said, let me do chicken. So I did the same thing. And I wasn't able to find any information that let me know that it was something that I needed. And so based off of my experience with red meat and my experience with the stomach issue, I said, I'm done. So that next day, I went to Borders and I picked up 2 books. I was looking for just cookbooks that I could start this thing. One of the books was called How It All Began. It had a lot of good recipes in it that I saw. And another one was this high-end shishi fufu, little, whatever. I never used it. But from the books, I found a couple recipes that I thought that I wanted to create, and I got all the ingredients for those couple of recipes.